Booga 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 booga.
Clixed Off is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicecafe.com.
Welcome to Clixed Off Sudden Death.
Welcome everyone to this, another edition of the Clixed Off Sudden Death. This is like season 2 for us now.
I know, 2 seasons.
We're a HeroClix podcast where we talk news, tournament reports, and more vital information to improve your HeroClix game. I'm your host, Alex Cooze, and joining me today is the woman all doctors hate due to her instant 8-pound weight loss secret. It's Sam Powell.
What's up, everybody?
Doctors just hate you. You just know how to lose 8 pounds like instantly.
8 pounds within like 2 minutes.
I know. The only downside is you're burdened with taking care of a child for at least 18 years.
At least 18 years, yes.
But
Have
man,
they changed diapers and everything?
Yeah, but you lose 8 pounds, so there's that.
Yeah.
Before we get started, don't forget that Clixed Off is sponsored by The Rock and Lucky Dice Games. We're also sponsored by Troll and Toad. Shop trollandtoad.com for all of your HeroClix needs. Trollandtoad.com has one of the largest inventories of HeroClix figures and sealed items on the web. Definitely use them to get some of these new Star Trek figures that we're getting next week.
Blah. that's my opinion, but I'm kind of in the minority, so.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Star Trek a little bit later, but let's go ahead and get the show rolling with Click number 1.
Click 1. News and upcoming events.
Alright, the dust is finally settled when it comes to the craziness of Worlds and where is Worlds, and we know it's in Memphis, but where in Memphis? Is it in the shady part of Memphis? We now know for a fact that it will be September 6th, 7th, and 8th. We kind of already knew that. But it's going to be on the beautiful campus of Graceland. If you haven't purchased your hotel room by now, then you need to go ahead and do so. As of this recording, WizKids has stated that half of the hotel is booked up already. So, got to get that hotel room quick.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they finally announced more details. I know people were getting antsy. People were like, what the heck's going on? I mean, if people knew the date, so I mean, if you already knew the date, you should have been planning on flights and stuff, but it's also nice to just know, like, where's it going to be? Like,
exactly.
What's the schedule? Like, that way people can plan. And because, I mean, like, for us, it's driving distance. So,
yeah.
I mean, for a majority of people, it's going to be driving distance. So, it's kind of know to, like, am I going to need to leave Thursday? Do I just leave Friday? Vice versa.
Yeah, and it's also useful for people that don't go to the main hotel. Like, a lot of people will do Airbnb and just get a big house and have a bunch of people stay. And that's hard to do when you don't know where in Memphis it is, because Memphis is a fairly large city.
Yeah.
And I'm a little, what's the word, judgmental of Memphis, because I live in Tennessee, and Memphis has always been one of those, like, it's a... you don't want to go to Memphis generally unless you are going to Graceland. So I can see where, you're a little worried about where you're getting that Airbnb.
Yeah, there's some bad parts of Memphis that you kind of want to steer clear of. So
yeah, and there's bad parts of every city. So I'm not trying to say, but they don't have the cleanest record.
So I'm excited. I mean, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to make it. I cannot find anybody to watch Little Kiddo.
So anybody out there that
if you're listening and you want to volunteer by coming to Worlds and watch my kid for while I play, then hit me up.
So are you for sure not going to Worlds? Like, even if you had the baby, I guess, because you're not.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna go because I'll be tempted to play and then I'll be depressed and.
You don't want to bring the little guy and at least play some BRs? Just have him right next to the table.
Well, I mean, I do it on Thursday at night with the Clicks guys. You know, I'll have him in his carrier and I hold him and stuff. And like last night I was holding him, feeding him, and playing Unity Mine at the same time. It was crazy. Um, but I just, it's, when you're playing, like when I'm playing against the guys, it's that they know, like, okay, he's fussy, or if I need to take, like, hey, I gotta step over here and change a diaper, like, go ahead and do your thing, I'm listening. They're like respectful and they understand, but like I just don't want to like be in that situation if I'm at a BR table and I think it's fussy. Like there's some BR people that would be like, oh my god, I can't believe you brought your kid and da 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 da, and like I'm here to shark and get these prizes and sell them on eBay, and you know, so I just don't want to be tempted. But
I
I
gotcha.
mean, I was hoping to find somebody to go with us and kind of be like our nanny, like while we
Mhm.
play. They watch Theo, but we just couldn't make it work out. So
Gotcha.
I'm kind of bummed about it, but I mean, it's part of adulting, you know. When you have a kid, you have to make sacrifices. So, but I'm excited for everybody that is going. I'm pumped for everybody. I think it's going to be a great turnout for Worlds. I know that there's been a lot of positive feedback
Mhm.
versus last year. I mean, when everybody was like, it's in Philly. Oh my gosh, you know. Remember we had our conversation. We were like, oh, we're being optimistic about Philly, but we're also like, I don't know, man. Like you're making people fly to Philly in December, you know. So now it's the weather's not a factor. Um, you know, it's in the central part of the U.S.
Yeah, the location is perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
you can ask for um, a better place to more centralized. I mean, I know it's not in
yeah,
the center of the country. It's not like in Kansas, but
yeah,
it's still pretty central for the East Coast, and it's got a major airport for West Coast people to come out, which is great.
yeah,
Because that was another reason why Philly was better, because they had a big airport as opposed to Columbus, which Columbus doesn't have that big
yeah.
of an airport. The only downside, I think, really to World's location, and this is really just me being, what's the word I'm looking for when you're judgmental about something, is just I don't have a general good opinion of Memphis, but I've only been like once, and that was really in the suburbs, so I really shouldn't judge Memphis that harshly, but um,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like if you talk to somebody that like lives near Nashville, they might be like, "Well, I love Nashville, but you
yeah.
know, I know about what Nashville stands for, and yeah,
Well,
whatever."
yeah, it's one of those where I'm kind of scouting it out in the event that this comes back to Graceland next year, because my wife likes Elvis. You know, she likes watching Elvis movies. Now, she doesn't love Elvis, but she likes Elvis movies, and I think she and the kids would enjoy Graceland, but I don't know how comfortable I feel with them in Memphis while I'm busy.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of scouting it out this time to just, see how it ends up being.
yeah.
Now,
I think it's gonna be great. So
yeah, now they have announced, they did announce all of the, the scheduling and whatnot for Worlds. We do know it's going to be a little bit different than Nationals in the sense that it looks like Team Worlds is going to be Friday morning. So you got the championship, it'll be X-Men because the cost is higher. So we know it's going to be animated X-Men. It's going to be at 9 a.m. So typical teams on Friday.
that's a little earlier start than usual, but I like it.
Well, keep in mind it's also Central Time, which I guess is your time, but for me it's Columbus isn't in Central, right? So Columbus is
No,
in Eastern. So
yeah. Usually they're starting like 10,
oh, I'm sorry.
11 o'clock.
The event starts at 10. Registration is 9. So that's
Oh,
my bad.
okay. There
That's
we
my bad.
go. I was gonna say, like, if they're starting at 9, like, kudos to them. That's awesome. But like, I'm all for starting earlier and
Yeah.
getting it done. But I know people, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm up till 3 a.m. partying. I can't start at 9.
Yeah. And then the prizing is your typical prizing. Top 13 get all the top 32 get all the rings. Top 16 get all the purchasables. And then top 8 gets basically all the non-purchasables, the winnables, the con LEs.
Yeah.
And then top 4 gets chase figure set, factory set, which should be X-Men, I think, at the time. And then
which would be like dope because I mean the set would just be coming out, right?
Yep. Well, I think it should be out during it, or this might be like a pre-release type thing. I'm not.
I mean, so
sure.
if you walk out there with a factory set of the new X-Men set that may have already just dropped within like the couple weeks or hasn't dropped yet, that is astronomically like
making
awesome.
some money.
I mean, like because I mean X-Men has a big following. Like I mean X-Men set sells out. Like everybody just loves. Like you'll just find people like, I love Storm, like I want every Storm possible, or I want every Magneto. So like if you come out with a factory set, you sell that thing and you like you make some money. Because there'll be somebody that'll just drop like $1,000 and be like, here, I want the whole set. $1,000. Boom, done.
And it's the animated set too. It's animated, so that's even
gonna be
nostalgia.
The Colossals, and oh man, that'll be dope. But let's hope. Let's hope that's hope. I'm hoping that for you guys.
Now, top 16 do get qualification into Worlds. That's important because, from what it looks like for this, unlike Nationals where they run grinders, kind of basically the first 2 days of Origins, they're not doing that this time, which I understand because it is and this may not be the reason why they're doing it this way, but it's a drag for judges. Like, judges, I know they get all this cool swag and whatnot after the end, but I mean, they get there before we get there. They get everything set up, and they're working until after we leave. And we get to come and go as we please. They are stuck sitting there, so I know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so the qualifier is 1. It's called the Last Chance Qualifier, and it's actually very similar to how Rock used to do for the Rock Cup, the semis. So basically, everyone who made it into semis would play in a big tournament, and top half would go into finals. And from what I see here, it says top half get world qualification, and they get a Con LE, and then the bottom half could just get a random special object. So it's not the worst. It's not like top 8 get in. It's literally top half. It's just, hey, instead of running all these little tournaments, and also they may be doing it to like stop those who like are using those tournaments just to win LEs and like just not being very friendly, which you can still enter this tournament, I believe, even if you are qualified, but you're not kicking out people every single tournament. But it's $20 to enter. It's gonna be constructed it's constructed, and it'll be multiple Swiss rounds, so it'll just be one big tournament where the top half make it. I think that's great. The only downside is it says time is going to be 5 p.m. So that's going to go a lot later.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully by then, if you're playing in teams, like, I mean, if you're doing well on teams and they're not done, then, I mean, by then, if you're doing well on teams, you're probably in. Yeah. But say it's only like top 32 of teams and you're making a decision like, are we going to make top 16? Do we have a chance? Or, because what if you're not qualified for Worlds and you don't make top 16, but you're in the top 32 of teams and you get knocked out and then you could not enter that tournament? That would be heartbreaking.
Well, I will say this. They do have in quotations, the start time is at 5, but it is subject to change dependent on conclusion of the Team World Championship. So they could decide, all right, we got top 32, let's let them cut the top of 16, and then we'll go, because we know top 16 are in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here's my thing. I was reading that, and it's like, I understand, I get it. Like, I think it's a great idea doing the one single tournament, doing the top half. I kind of hope that they don't allow people that are already qualified for Worlds. I know people will be like, well, it's good practice, but, like, then it comes a headache for whiz kids of saying, okay, well, say, like, half the top 30, half of the field, you cut to the half, and then say, like, 15 of the half is already qualified for Worlds. Then you're having to go down further in the list, and it can cause a headache. And, I mean, when you didn't announce Worlds until, like, kind of late, like, with this whole, like, we didn't know where it was, we didn't really know the dates. Then it's like all of a sudden, okay, that's in September. And then like last year, Rock Now announced like, okay, to qualify for Worlds, you can get 200 points, or you can, do well in Nationals and whatnot. Some people can't make it in Nationals, so if you say you didn't make it to Nationals, or you didn't do well at Nationals, didn't do top half, and you're not qualified for Worlds, but you also haven't had very many opportunities for rocket events, you could be kind of screwed there. Like, I get it, like maybe next year, but we've only had less than a year between the announcement and then like all this going on, so I just, it's one of those, like, I like it but I don't like it. Like, there's really no
Well, I think part of the things that's coming back to bite us is, Howard was trying to move the Rock Cup to this month, I think. It was supposed to be in July. And it was really too short notice, but now we've lost 2 opportunities to qualify for Worlds, because the Rock Cup now is supposed to be team constructed and individual sealed events, which it will be in October or September or whenever it's supposed to be. I don't remember. I think it's still in October.
He wanted it to be a Worlds qualifier, and it's not going to be.
Well, it is for next year.
Next year.
Yeah, that's the downside. So that's why I think, we got to give this Worlds a little bit of a pass, because it's the first time they're trying their own thing, and we kind of complained a lot to get the Rock Cup moved back to where it was originally for this year, and that means, all right, well, the downside to that is we don't have as many opportunities to qualify.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of here or there.
I think, like I said, there's pluses and minuses. I see both ways. I just hope, like I said, that it's ran well enough that it can be successful, and we can keep it in Memphis, and we can grow, and we can learn from this year to better for next year, and vice versa.
Exactly. To round out the news about Worlds, the World Championship itself is on Saturday at 10 a.m. And they're doing just like they did at Nationals, which I think is great. They run through Nationals, and then they kind of finish to top 8. So for a fact, oh, hey, I'm done going into Saturday night, which is great, because then you can leave early Sunday, sleep, wake up, and just go home. I ended up leaving Saturday, one, because I was frustrated with my dice, but it gives you some, like, oh, I'm going in the top 32, I have to wait till tomorrow, and that's going to be like 5 hours or 4 hours potentially, and this time it's, alright, you're going to be in top 8, so if you need to go ahead and leave and go home and make it by Sunday, and
Yeah, and usually by top 8, like they say they start at 10. I mean, it's only like 3 hours of play time now that you factor in like breaks and like in between rounds. So you're thinking maybe 4 hours of time. So you're able to leave early afternoon.
Exactly.
So if you make it to the finals and win, and so.
Either way, that's it for Worlds information. Definitely check out the page. WizKids has a bunch of pages going up. They have this special package if you purchase a room in Graceland that you get a Storm Connelly, which is not purchasable. It's only winnable, except for this package. You get some cool tour. You get you get like a Bombshell Raven. You get another 2019 or early 2019 Connelly. Like, it's definitely sounds like it's worth it for just $49.
Oh, so yeah.
Definitely try to book your hotel room. Try to stay at Graceland. It's not terribly expensive. And then get that package, because that package for $49 sounds 100% worth it.
Yeah, the Storm itself is going to be worth the $49.
Now, I will say this, Sam. If you do bring the baby, make sure, and they put this on their like background info for this, he cannot be dressed up like Elvis.
Oh, okay. Dang. Well,
hoping.
Well, that just knocks me out from going, because I was going to dress him as Elvis, but no. I really, really, really wanted to go, but I just.
You still might. Can't. Maybe someone will come out and say, "Hey, my my mother-in-law's coming and she can watch the baby at the event or something. I don't know. Maybe something will happen. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? So.
All right, let's talk a little bit about some upcoming events. July has really been the month of WKOs.
Yeah.
Really not much in the way of rock events. We have a few WKOs finishing up this week, and I think there's some next week. Due to these WKOs, there hasn't been any qualifiers or regionals really ran this month. And to be honest, August doesn't really have any on the schedule either, because, you know, there's Gen Con, where, and I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But really all we have is currently on the schedule, we do have a qualifier at Mothership Books and Games in Austin, Texas. And that is on August 3rd. So hopefully all those Texas guys show up, because they usually have a lot of fun at their events. And I'm always interested in seeing the builds that the Texas guys kind of pop out there. Additionally, like I just mentioned, don't forget, Rock is running the events at Gen Con in August. Be sure to check out the Rock page. That'll have all the info about Gen Con. I know a lot of people are pumped and ready for Gen Con, so...
Yeah, it's big, and I'm really happy to hear that Rock is taking over the Clixed events there and able to... they're not just running just 300 modern events. They're actually running like a 2 versus 2 sealed event, which is cool. They're going to run BRs. I'm interested to see, like, if it's successful this year, maybe next year they'll run some more, like, different constructed side events. Yeah. I think that's kind of cool. I think this year, they're just kind of, like, testing the waters, but from what I hear, I think it's going to be a good success, and it's nice. Gen Con is huge. I don't know if anybody, like, if you haven't been, it's way, way bigger than Origins. But as far as, like, for Clix, it's always been just, like, kind of, for the past, like, few years, it's been really kind of dead. So it's nice to hear that there's some big tournaments. They're running a regional. I mean, that's
nice.
That's awesome. So, I won't be going to Gen Con, but all the guys are going, and I hear every week how pumped they are, and I'm so excited for them. And I'm kind of scared in a sense because they're all rooming together and they're going to be drinking and having a good time. So I'm a little scared, but I'm hoping that, you know, they can be grown adults. And
you should just go to Gen Con and get some of the Columbus guys up there to help. Just leave the baby at the store that J Major works at, you know? Just leave the baby there, and you can have Jalen watch him for a bit.
Hey, I did ask Jay if he had an in-store daycare when he ran his event. I was like, do you have in-store daycare? Like, so...
Maybe they can hang one of those little bouncy seats, and you just put him in a bouncy seat for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully when he's a little older, I can just, like, sit here and watch YouTube, and Mommy's gonna play. Because that's how you parent now, right? Like, you just stick a screen in front of their face.
Yeah, we here at Clixed Off do not condone sticking a screen in front of your child's face to parent. Just let the record show, we do not condone that.
We don't condone that. No.
But if you're playing a Clixed event, it is a perfectly okay way to distract your kids.
I've done it a few times. I mean, it works because, you know, there's just so, if you take them to a gaming store, well, apparently we need to do a segment of parenting and clicks, because that just needs to be a segment, but we're not doing that. But either way, just, you know, taking it to a comic book store is like taking a nerd to a comic book store, because everything is bright and colorful, and, you know, all these little miniatures and figurines, and, you know, they just want their hands on them. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm excited that hopefully after Gen Con, maybe we can see more rock events pop up. I just know that it just hit like it has been really odd that all it's been is WKOs. So I want some rock events to talk about.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of the mindset of this whole merger thing, is that it's really going to be trading off back and forth, where, you know, one month is going to be mostly WKOs, the next month is going to be states, and then the next month is going to be nationals, and then this, and then this, and then the Rock Cup. And so they're really just trading back and forth because they don't want to impede on each other's territory, because they're going to lose money that way. Because the WizKids wants people to show up to WKOs, but they also want people to show up for Rock events because they make money off of rock events because they're selling the Con LEs and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's weird, but I could see the beauty of it at some point.
Yeah. I mean, you are running like what 2 Winamaps a week on online, so
Yes, we are currently
that's-
doing 2 Winamaps a week.
that's awesome. I'm happy to see that's going so well, and
Oh yeah.
hopefully I can jump in one night. So
Oh, definitely. You definitely need to. Speaking of tournaments, why don't we go to click number 2 for tournament reports and analysis?
Click 2, Tournament Reports and Analysis.
So as we mentioned before, we've had quite a few constructed WKOs this month, and really, the Elders of the Universe are kind of just shaking up the universe, quite
Yeah.
literally. Let's go over just a couple of the winners. So we had Isaac Denke win the Sioux Falls WKO with a Kobik Trader build. We had Chip Barnett take a WKO in Oregon with a Lord Order Master Chaos Kobik build. Jay Solomon won a WKO in Ottawa with a Kobik Trader build. Jalen won a WKO this month, and he played Uni Lockjaw, so he kind of broke the mold a little bit, but
Yeah.
using a classic. Brian Dormeyer, I may have butchered that, won a WKO in Washington with a Lord Order Master Chaos Kobik build. Dustin Cedars took a WKO in Texas with a Double Gardner Trader team, and he also took an online Winamap with a similar build. I think he went down to just 1 Gardner and 2 Traders. I don't know right off of the top of my head. And then also in Texas, Desmond Bostic also won a WKO with a Double Astronomer Trader team, which is a similar team to what Nate White has also been playing. Astronomer's just Astronomer, Trader, they're just all over the place. And just one last big congratulations to all the WKO winners. I'm sorry if I didn't read your name. There's been a ton of WKOs, and not all of them announced their winners as well as some of the others, and a lot of them were sealed also. So if you won sealed WKOs, big congrats to you too. Don't let anyone tell you just because it's sealed it's not as important. Yes, still qualified for nationals. So
yeah, I think I would rather in this season of WKOs, I think playing sealed would be a lot more fun than constructed, just because I love Black Panther set for sealed.
absolutely,
It is such a great set, such balanced set, and I mean, if you could look at, you heard all these teams, and how many times did you hear Trader? Like, it's
yes.
just, it's oppressing, but it's also good for the game at the same time. I know there was a discussion on Facebook earlier, and it was one of those, they were like, this Kobik Trader thing, and it like, is Kobik the one that's broken? It's like, no, Kobik's not broken. Like, Kobik's fine. Kobik's beatable. It's just like the Elders of the Universe. They're beatable. It's Trader that's, I don't want to say problem. I'm saying problem in quotation marks. It's just one of those, it's like, it's stirring up the meta, but it's also good for the meta. But it's also like, I don't know, I don't want to say bad, but it's kind of like, it's just crazy what they can do, and it's almost like, when you can use 2 of them, it's just like, okay, you can literally do free action, trade, poison, take a token, and it's like, okay, like, that's just, I don't know. It can be confusing, and
I mean, I'll go out and say it. I think he is bad for the meta. I'll just go ahead and say it. And,
yeah.
And the main reason I'm saying that is because we are in the infancy stage of this new meta. We're trying to figure out our identity, or not infancy, we'll say we're in like a teenage stage. We're trying to figure out our identity. And it's the new hotness, which makes sense. And at some point, is he going to be beatable? Of course, he's very easy to kill. The problem is that he does something no one else does, and that is he switches equipment very easily. And he can do it, especially if you have 2 of them, you just keep flipping them back and forth, and the next turn, do it all over again.
Yeah.
So he's not oppressive. It's really just... I'm kind of... I guess I would say I'm kind of tired of the whole, the meta's wide open, it's awesome, and then at the same time I'm tired of, the meta's so stale. It's kind of just, it's an amorphous blob that just grows in different directions, and right now it is so heavily cosmic favored that, like, it's almost oppressive how strong the cosmic keyword is. In a world where you have to have theme team, cosmic is just so wide open that it's kind of hard. I mean, you have different tiers of players who play to win, but they want to kind of have their own flavor, so they don't want to go what everyone does. And the problem is when a team is just so oppressive. Now we're not talking Hawkeye oppressive, we're not talking Vulture oppressive. I'm just saying that when you have one figure that is on half of the teams of the field.
And he's an uncommon?
Yes, he's an uncommon. And
so it's not like it's like a super rare or anything that's like hard to get. It's an uncommon and he's not unique.
I think he might be a rare. Either way, he's still easy to find. Yeah, he's a rare.
Easy to find.
He's a rare. He's a rare.
Okay, so it's again, a rare is pretty common.
And most likely everyone has bought a ton of this set, so you're gonna have multiples of him.
And if you went to nationals, you got covered in it. So
yeah, I think I left with 3. And I didn't buy much. I just played a bunch of BRs and I ended up with a bunch. I don't know. Traders it's unusual because he himself is not oppressive. It's what he gives and does for everyone else. And he doesn't make teams broken. He just makes teams unfun to play against. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's not the Shredder level of broken. He's not Hawkeye oppressive. He's just kind of annoying right now because it's kind of an easy... I won't say it's an easy piece, but I don't know how to quantify or qualify Trader right now. I guess that's the problem. Like, it frustrates me seeing a piece play on so many teams, but I don't know what I'm mad at. If that makes sense. It's like, he does one thing really well, and that's he trades equipment. I mean, he does that really, really well. And that
I think we would have a different conversation if he was unique and people can just play one. But it's when people play like 2 and it's like, oh gosh, I mean, they can literally just take, I mean, it's almost like infinite action team. They can take 3 minutes of just trading freaking equipment and moving and trading and token and stuff. And now I do like the sense that it has balanced. I was, again, in quotation, balance, that you can no longer play full uni. Like, you can't play one-man armies anymore because literally you run against a Kobik trader, you are sitting there and you are doing nothing.
But really, when you think about it, uni's the only one left, right? Because Goblin King's gone. You got Black Panther. You got Black Panther and uni.
Yeah, I mean, Black Panther at that point, if you play 250 Black Panther, you need to play a leadership.
Yeah. But
then usually Kobik Trader's going to go over and just, okay, I'm going to kill your Groot, and then I'm going to token you.
So, WizKids, you get a phone call tomorrow, and it's WizKids, and they're like, Sam, we need you to fix Trader. He's just a little too strong. We don't know how to do it. We don't want to make him really crappy, because, I mean, he doesn't do a ton. So how do you fix this?
I think first thing is you make him unique.
Now, has WizKids ever done that before? Ever made a figure unique?
After print? I mean, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I think the one trader is easy enough to deal with. Like,
no, the one trader still lets you do the Kobik trick.
Yeah, I get that, but Kobik's beatable. Like, I maybe I just don't see anything, and maybe I'm going to get my butt whooped tomorrow by a Kobik trader, and I want to come back and edit this podcast and say I was wrong. But, like, I mean, granted, this is also Sam Powell speaking, who hasn't played meta in 8 weeks because I had a child, and I'm trying to catch up and see what's being played and whatnot, but I don't know. Like, and going back to the Black Panther thing real quick, again, with Black Panther does have a chance because he can just go on poison.
That's true, but I mean...
So, I mean, but still, it's Kobold Trader's just going to keep token and take cheap shots at Black Panther and maybe hit the stop click, and then you're not going to be able to get poison. And I mean, it's just like Collector. I mean, I don't know. Collector just takes your equipment.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Collector doesn't... Collector can be added onto a team to help control your opponent's equipment.
Yeah.
Trader allows you to utilize your equipment in a method that it wasn't... I mean, I guess it was built to do, but it allows you to do things with equipment that maybe the individual equipment wasn't meant to do multiple times in one turn.
Yeah.
The fact that he starts with an equipment, you can pick one of the gems and he can start with it. All right, that's a big deal. So you can pick a gem. I've always had a little bit of an issue that you can just start with a gem and it's not on your build sheet anywhere. That always annoyed me, and I understand it's an outside of the game element. I get all of that. It just annoys me that it's like, oh yeah, I've got on my sheet I'm playing 3 gems. But I've also got all the other 6 on the sideline in case I want to start any of my figures with a gem. And it's like, what? I mean, that's legal, but I would like you to at least put that on a build sheet and say, here's my out-of-game elements that I'm going to be bringing. I don't know.
And you just wonder, like, we always have this conversation, is like, does WizKids play test? Like, did they ever think, like, because we have some great minds in the game, you know, and it's like when Kobik came out, it was like, Kobik's so good, this Cosmic Cube is so good, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, there's this rare, it's called Trader, let me read this, and then, like, there's that mind out there that put them two together, and now it's like, did WizKids not have that mind that, like, hey, this is going to be a great combo. Let's see if they pick up on it, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they do play test, and they do talk with players in the community and the judges that work with them and stuff. I do think they do that. It's just, it's hard to prepare for every scenario, and it's hard to... I mean, it's one thing to be like, all right, this combo isn't so bad. Like, they could have said, all right, Trader, Kobik, we get it. They can move things around. That's not that bad. But then when they see everything else that goes with the team, or see that everyone plays it, I think the issue here is that Trader is on 50% of teams, it feels like.
Well, there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of equipment out there. So it's easy. It's nice to have. I can be like, one turn I want poison, shape change. Okay, I'm going to trade over to the reality and have, you know, whatever. Right. Or I'm going to trade over to the ego and have +1 stats. Or,
right.
So it benefits the use of the equipment, but I don't know. Maybe, I just think the 1 is okay. It's when you get to 2, it's like, if I play one that's a 2, I'm going to be like, I really hope you practice this so I don't have to sit here and watch you for 5 minutes swapping equipment and deciding which one you want to swap to and which one you want to use. And, like, it's like when you play the Gabi player and they're like, hold on, I want to pick my 2 powers. It's like, dude, you have 1 figure on your force. Like, you should know coming up, like, when it goes to your turn, you should be like, this is my powers I want to pick. Like... When I play Uni, I'm pretty quick on, I know by the end of my opponent's turn, okay, I want to pick this. I at least have 2 powers in my head, depending on what my next move is.
Right.
So, but that comes down to how the player plays. But how would you fix it, Alex?
How would I fix it? I mean, you can argue, does Trader need to be fixed? And then again, if you asked Dan and was like, all right, Dan, is something wrong with Trader? And he'd be like, no, because he could be one-shot by Uni. That's kind of his go-to. Could he be one-shot by Uni? Then he's not that great, which is true. He can be easily one-shot by Uni and one-shot by a lot of things. You have to hit him for 6, but that's okay with Pensai. I don't know.
Or they just miss their imperv, you know? Vulture just flurries the crap out of him, you know?
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't make his power action because that makes it severely, like, so much worse. I don't know. That's tricky. I mean, I've heard a few people suggest that maybe you can make his swapping power more limited. So make it to where it either only infinity gems, or make it to where you can only, like, you can't trade with the person you traded with last turn.
That would be good too, but
because that would cut off Kobik shenanigans, but it would still give you functionality to be like, all right, I'm gonna move the space gem around so that way we can move. But at the same time, it's not like I give you Cosmic Cube next turn, I take the Cosmic Cube back. It's no, you can't do that because you've already traded with that person that turn. So
yeah,
I think it's a sensible move, but I don't know. I mean, WizKids surprises us all the time. We haven't had a watch list in over a year.
Yeah, we all thought Vulture would go on it. All thought it.
Well, I think people are expecting something to happen with Vulture. Whether it's limiting his charge, like having a max for the turn, or a one-time thing. I mean, that's a little bit easier to...
But here's the thing, like, if you look at all the reports, you don't see Vulture very much. It's like...
Except for, even though he didn't do anything really for the finals bout, he was on the national champions team.
Yeah, he was on Patrick's team, which was, I mean, great. But, like, you didn't really see him.
But then think back again to Tyler Speeds. I mean, he won Worlds with Wales, which he was pretty much the only person playing Wales. And they didn't do a watch list, but they came out with the whole colossal clarifications where they changed how the starting zone was and how you move them. And we can all attribute that to Tyler. Or at least,
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, we all at least like to. So, I mean, I definitely could see them saying, you know, we're gonna knock Vulture down a little bit. He's a little crazy for a 60-point figure, or 65, whatever he is. I could see them maybe doing something to Trader, because I don't think Kobik at all deserves any sort of nerfing. She's fine with her cube.
Yeah.
I think Astronomer is fine for his 75 points. It's just, he is one of few pieces that have ignore elevation, and so that's why he's really that strong, is because there's not money out there. It's him, Green Arrow, and maybe some random small piece. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why he is stronger. So I think it's just the cosmic keyword has just gotten unbelievably strong because it has so much flexibility in it.
But when I look at, like, top 8 sheets, like, there's so many great teams out there right now that are being played. You know, you have your unis, you see a couple Vultures, you know, you have the Kobiks and stuff, but, like, Lord Chaos and Master Order, like, what, I mean, I saw that in Texas. Now it's being played almost, like, everywhere.
But guess what keyword Lord Order Master Chaos has?
Yeah, Cosmic. So,
Cosmic.
Yeah.
Cosmic is just so... If you said, Sam, you were only able to play one keyword for the rest of the year, you would most likely pick Cosmic, because there's just so many different teams you could build out of the one keyword.
Oh, no, I would probably pick
or
Wakanda.
Avengers. You would pick what? Wakanda?
I gotta make my war rhinos work, okay?
Okay. I know one thing, you definitely would not pick any DC keywords.
Nope. Heck no. Those could die in a fire.
Because it's like, oh, I get to play this one keyword and I got this one set for the next year.
And then it'd be like, oh, and I gotta play freaking Harley Quinn on my main force. I would quit HeroClix.
Oh, and they decided to abandon this keyword. How awesome.
Oh, yay. No, I mean, I really like the meta now. Like, from what I'm reading, and I haven't really play tested much against it, but from what I'm reading and seeing, I like it, and I hope that it can evolve more. I think it has room to grow. I think we have room to make adjustments, and it's nice to see it's not the same. I know we see Kobik Trader, Kobik, and Cosmic winning, but if you look at top 8s, there's going to be a breakthrough of something else, and it's...
Yeah.
I think it's coming. Now, hopefully, if they do a watch list, maybe they'll do it before Worlds. but I mean, it's coming up close. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I could see them doing one in August, perhaps, and just dropping the bomb, because the Worlds isn't going to really change much as far as what the meta currently is. I mean, we are getting Star Trek next week, but that's about it. So what we
you'll
have
have
now,
X-Men. Is Regenesis
you'll
would
have
that be legal?
Well, the main set figures, yes. The prizes, the first month I think is legal, but the second and third are not.
Yeah.
Which the second month I think is the one with the really good Magneto, I think, or really good Storm. There's a couple prizes in there that's really, really good. So you do have those IDs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not that different. Star Trek, we're still waiting to see. We have
A set comes out next week, and we've had start previews this week. Wow, that's
well, you got to keep in mind, like half of the set was already like spoiled, like more than spoiled, and that's because they ran that event at Nationals, and so we know. I think I read like 22 out of the 26 figures, or 22 out of the 30 figures, or something. Like I'm looking now. The only figures on Realms that we're missing is 2 uncommons, 5 rares, 1 super rare, and the 2 chases.
Yeah.
Now, we did get a super rare today that I want to talk a little bit about, which I know you probably don't care about, but we did hear about the Board Queen today, who is a title character, who I absolutely love.
Yeah, I read that in the chat.
Yes.
You love that. And I'm like, great. We give Alex Cooze a good figure for his Pog teams.
Yes, because I love my Pog teams.
You do love your Pog teams.
So WizKids is the one who spoiled it, so if you don't know what she does, take a look at her on the WizKids Facebook page, but I'll go over her title character abilities real quick. She's 100 points, she's a super rare, she has the Borg team ability, which is a big one. The Borg team ability, if you don't know, and this is Borg as in Star Trek, not Bork as in the Muppets. Just in case you were confused. Borg. When an adjacent friendly character is KO'd after resolutions, you may roll a d6. If you do, heal this character equal to the result, -2, minimum 1. So it's like a pseudo regen support type thing, which is awesome, because what is the biggest issue with title characters? They hurt themselves constantly unless they attack somebody or an opposing character. So her +1 is free. Choose one. Move or close or range. Actions of the chosen type given to friendly characters that are adjacent or have the board keyword don't count against your action total this turn. So that's pretty neat. So you can pop out some pogs, start them next to her, and if they don't have autonomous, she could do this ability and they can run off, and she can activate this ability whenever. So she can keep activating this ability. Her 2 other abilities are very much like the other title characters in Star Trek. We had Kirk and Core, I think, and that's the Transporter ability. Free, choose a character on your sideline with the board keyword and a starting line for that character. You may play 1 plot point plus 1 plot point per 10 full points of the character's cost to place that character on the starting line in an unoccupied square within 6 squares and line of fire. A force may only have 1 character placed by this effect on the map at a time, so basically you pay 5 plot points for a 40 through 49 point character. So that's cool. She could bring in a Borg person. There's some Borg. I don't know if they're great, but that's nifty. The cooler part is the Assimilate team ability, or title ability. Free. Choose a character from the opponent's KO area. You may pay 1 plot point plus 1 plot point per 10 full points of that character's starting line played this game to place that character on the starting line in an unoccupied square within 6 squares in line of fire. A force may only have 1 character placed on this effect. So it's very similar to the other one. It's just instead of your sideline and having the board keyword, it's from your opponent's KO area. You just bring them over. So what this is most likely going to be used for is Colossal Retail, because they're so easy to kill and they're such low points. So I can run over, kill your Surtur, assimilate him, and now I have Surtur. Now you can score Surtur back and score the points back, yes. So it's not without risks. But I can do this without fear of her dying from her activating her title abilities, because I could play a Pog team. I could play a ruler team, which I had just built right before this recording. I could play her and Medusa. Medusa pops out her hair sidesteps right next to the Borg Queen, dies. Borg Queen can heal. Just heal. Like, the Borg TA is really, really good. Like, unbelievably good. Because it's a team ability that heals themselves. Mm-hmm. Without any, like, oh, I roll, like, X-Men or Teen Titans. I roll, oh, I hit a 1, I take 1 unavoidable. It's just, someone dies next to you, you heal. That's sweet. And you can heal up to 4. Because it's roll a d6 minus 2. That's insane. Like, that's the combinations you can make. Now, she's expensive. She's 100 points. She has Borg, Robot, and Ruler keywords. So, Robot, you could play her with Isaac, which was another idea that I was thinking. It was playing her with Isaac. Isaac, as you know, can do the Perpetual Barrier. So you could play the Gaia or one of his little pogs, make a barrier, next turn, make a barrier again, but choose to push him and kill him. He dies in front of the Borg Queen. She heals after doing all her title stuff. And just make a little factory back there. Keep all those little pogs going out, killing things, and then I take the pogs. It's just going to be great. I can't wait.
Coming from someone that's played Alex in his Pog teams, it's not great. It's not great at all.
What?
But I've played against some Pog teams, and it's just like with the Robo Penguins and stuff. It's like, oh, this is cool. I just got to get over there and just kill your crap.
Well, that's the best thing about Isaac. And this
you have that barrier.
I have perpetual barrier. Like, not just I have barrier. I have never-ending barrier.
Yeah.
Like, the combination is there where I will never not have barrier unless you kill Isaac or kill the Pog, obviously. Like, if you leave me to my own devices, stupidly, I will always have barrier. Now, the team has weaknesses, just like the robot team that doesn't have Borg Queen. The Iron Man Isaac team has weaknesses. I mean, Murder Machine is a threat. Vulture can get stopped by the barrier, so that's not too bad. Alpha Strike teens are a threat. I mean, there's multiple things.
We do have 2 Cyclops ID cards and 2 Super Cyclopses, so...
But Cyclops can't just kill Isaac. He can make Isaac go to his stop click, and at that point he can't make characters again. So yes, I get that, but you shouldn't be stupid enough to put your Isaac out front. You should body block him with Skyscraper Wonder Woman, and anyway,
you do put your Isaac. If you play Sam or Alex, you do put your Isaac out in front.
Oh yes,
and then you only put 1 level of barrier.
Yes.
And
don't even use barrier. You should use
Gaia for the other. Yeah, use the other Pog. Yeah. You know, just no. We need to give good advice. You body block your Isaac if they have super rare Cyclops on your sideline.
Exactly. So it's just, people were saying, man, I really hope we get something from Star Trek that is good. Because from what we've seen so far, I mean, the Captain Picard title, I think we got a title, Captain Picard. He does some neat things, but he's not a title, Picard. He's okay. I mean, he does some neat things, but he's 125 points, too much.
I know everybody was losing their crap about Q.
Oh, yeah, because 50 points for 1 click. That was the biggest thing. Like, everyone's like, did I misread 50 points for 1 click? And no, you didn't.
No.
He does some cool things, though, but no.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I think it's more like the nostalgia. People like it because I love Star Trek. But it's just like the last Star Trek set, the first one that we had. Trailing was kind of under the radar for a while, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, like, let's look at this piece trailing. He spiked freaking $100, and he is awesome. So I think once the set comes out and, like, the hoopla of, like, oh my gosh, I have my Star Trek Next Generation clicks, and I think once people start sitting down there and be like, oh, hey, look at this piece. That's going to go well in this team. And I mean, again, your Borg concept for Pog teams is great and gross at the same time, and I just don't want to play against it. So people just don't just don't play that.
Well, I think the biggest issue with the previous Star Trek was that it absolutely was one of the worst sets ever to play sealed.
Oh, it was awful.
Because
I played battle royales and I'm just like, this is boring.
No one had willpower. Like, no one did a lot of damage. And I get it. I mean, outside of Kirk punching things, there wasn't a ton of action back then.
Unless you played Horda.
Well, that's true. But it was just so blah. And outside of Trelane and the chases, it was generally blah. This set, I already see there's a decent amount of willpower out there. You got Lieutenant Worf with Indomitable, which is funny. You said you're not a Star Trek fan, but I thought you named your child the middle name Worf. I thought that was what it was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It wasn't Worf? Okay.
No. And it wasn't Unimind, or because I know people like comment, they're like, what, Sam, shot down Unimind as the middle name? It's like, yes, very much so.
Either way, the set comes out next week. I'm pumped for it. We still don't know what the chases are. We still don't know what the prime is, because I think we get the common prime and super rare prime in this. Because remember, Star Trek was a big set that they cut into 2 feeds instead. Mm-hmm. So they built it as a set. That's why title Queen, Borg Queen still has the old wording for title characters, because she was made like a year and a half ago. Because I think last fall we were supposed to get the Star Trek set, and they were like, "No, time out. We're gonna push it, and then we're gonna split it up." So this, from my understanding, we're supposed to be getting a common prime and super rare prime, and then the next part drops this fall. So I think in November or October, or maybe even September, that should have the uncommon and rare prime. Because it says here, we're getting, the first set is Resistance is Futile. We get 9 commons, 9 uncommons, 9 rares, 5 super rares, 2 chases with 1 common prime, 1 prime super rare. And then the second one is To Boldly Go, where we get 8 commons, 8 uncommons, 8 rares, 4 super rares, 2 chases, and then we get 1 prime in the uncommons and rares slot. So, lots of Star Trek coming around. The first set that we're getting is primarily Starfleet crew, Klingons, and Borg. Those are the themes. And then the next one is more Romulans, Cardassians, and the Ferengi, which you probably don't know who they are. But
you were speaking Greek to me, so
I'll admit I used to watch Next Generation when it came on, like Nick at Night, or it came on some channel like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It came on like right before Whose Line Is It Anyway or something. I remember watching it growing up. I was never really a Trek fan, like into it, but I enjoyed watching it because it was, it was an interesting TV show to watch. So, Sam, do you have any last things you want to hit when it comes to the current meta? Obviously, we've got time before Worlds. We'll probably record another episode or two. We're going to get back into a more regular thing now that you're done having a baby and I'm done, moving into a new house.
Yeah.
We've got kind of settled down. It's season 2. So
yeah, it is season 2.
I guess I need to change up things now that we
maybe we'll get 2 fans instead of 1 fan. We'll get 2 fans.
Your expectations are far too high.
I know.
Far too high.
I'm just excited to see what comes out of August. Yeah. Like, right before Worlds, people are gonna be looking at these build sheets for WKOs, and also, like, if you're kind of like on the fence of like, I don't know what to play, like, jump online and watch some of these Winamaps or see what they're playing, because a lot of people that are playing these Winamaps are testing new teams, and or testing their Worlds teams, and it's and a lot of them are like very open, like, I'm playing, like Nate is like, I'm playing this team, and he'll post it and he'll talk to you about it, and there's such a great diversity being played on the Winamap, so I'm eager to see what comes out of August. I think that might be a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It could just be Comic Trader. Like,
So so Sam, before we move on, what are you playing now? Like, if you were playing, are you playing tomorrow in a WKO?
I am playing tomorrow. I got a babysitter. My sister's gonna watch Theo for me. I'm playing Uni Lockjaw, Mudman Groot.
The old staple, huh?
Well, I've played it before. Again,
That's fair. Yeah, that's
I
fair.
haven't had the time to really sit down and practice and stuff. I really, really want to play Tri-Sentinels, and I really want to make it work, but I haven't had the time to sit down and put it on a map. So hopefully, if I was going to Worlds, I was really gonna hit hard with the Tri-Sentinel team, but um, again, I'm not going to Worlds, so
Let's all be real here for a second. Sam actually really wants to make a King Shark team
yes,
work. So she says Tri-Sentinels, but what we should really be hearing is King Shark. So
if I can make King Sharks work, that would be amazing. But I just can't make it work.
I mean,
but
you can make them work. You just can't make them win. I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah.
You can make their mechanics work fine. It's just winning is going to be the hard part.
By the way, also, just another thing. I was, thinking the other day, of things that, because I've been talking to Emily a lot, and she's, been like, how can I change my Vulture team and whatnot, and great friend. I really hope she does well tomorrow in Canadian Nationals. She's got a great Vulture team. I'm thinking of like pieces that could be good that we haven't talked about or seen or something. And I think something that's gone under the radar that's really been brought to my attention again was Elijah Snow.
Yeah, they mentioned, who was it that mentioned it? They mentioned it on Critical Clicks. I'm not afraid to mention another podcast if anyone's out there, But yeah, they were talking about it on there, and he is, it's because of the lack of flight. There's not as much flight anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone uses phasing nowadays.
Yeah, and that could make an impact. But then again, he's kind of easy to kill, so I don't really know if that fits on your team or not. But
his barrier, just put him up the back there with Isaac and
yeah,
the perpetual barrier team.
Again, don't put your Isaac out in front. Body block that, please.
For real, don't do that.
But I really think the Tri-Sentinel team could work. I really do. Hawkeye's not longer there. And I know everybody's like, well, that's Vulture food, but I mean, I still think it's good, but I just haven't had a chance to play it and put it on a map. So I'm going to Old Faithful, and I'm going to play Uni, and let's just hope I don't go 0-4 tomorrow.
Yeah, you really need to give a shout out to Lucas Van Hollen, because he is kind of like the Tri-Sentinel whisperer right now.
Yeah.
So, definitely.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I'm not discounting Lucas Van Hollen. I know he's playing Tri-Sentinel stuff, but Jason has played it for a while, and I've kind of talked to Jason a lot. Like when he was playing it, like what can we do better? We thought like let's put Daredevil on there, and then was like, oh man, we're getting this Raven. Let's put Raven on there. Like let's take Alex Wilder off, and there's a lot of good combos. So I know Lucas is playing it. I wish him well. I hope he makes it work. So.
Yeah, so as far as me, because I do want to emphasize a more, it's season 2, so I do want to emphasize a more open mindset, because I like being one of those people that's like, all right, this is what I'm currently working on to open up conversations. So currently I'm working on 2 different teams. I'm playing around with the Ultra Chase Thanos team. My last build was Ultra Chase Thanos, Isaac, because I'm just really big in an Isaac mood right now, and Silver Sable. Also played, I think, 2 suited henchmen, and then 5 IDs, and no Colossal Retail, unfortunately, but it's a minion of Thanos team. I originally had Mangog on there, but Mangog by himself he just dies. So,
Not if he perplexes defense up.
No, he still dies. To a Cyclops, absolutely.
Not necessarily, but
But
okay.
it's a great combo because Silver Sable can take Gotham City or the Underworld team ability, and she can kind of carry Isaac around. Thanos is really good. I give him kind of like what Brad Milburn was doing at Nationals. I give him the Soul Gem, and then I have him and the Isaac Pogs kind of just go out and wreck some stuff, and it's been very successful so far.
Yeah.
But then I've been playing that team, and I'm like, man, I really like these Pogs. I'm like, I want to go back to Pogs because I like playing Pogs. And so that's when I started going back to the Isaac Iron Man build, which is Robot, Isaac, Iron Man. I think I played 3 Skyscraper Wonder Womans, 1 Tri-Sentinel, and then you have to, unfortunately, you have to play Prez Ricard because he's like the only leadership.
But why is
Robots
that?
can use.
Why do you say unfortunately? Because Prez Ricard is actually really good.
He's not, though. In order for me to use my leadership, I have to remove tokens from other people. Like, because he doesn't have keywords, so he can't just use leadership normally. I have to... I mean, I could, I guess, theoretically. If I was removing a token from a lower point figure, I could remove it from a Pog, like a barrier Pog, if you will. But he doesn't have keywords, so I can't remove tokens from Isaac or Iron Man. What I have to do instead is I have to remove a token from your person to then do that. Now, another thing is, well, I mean, he used to stop the old soldier team. He was a big pain in the butt at Worlds or Nationals, which I'm glad. Unfortunately, that team isn't viable anymore because we lost Sam Cap. But he's, I don't know. I mean, he's 35 points. He doesn't really do a ton except for that leadership. So, and he's really the only leadership robots have. Not even the Borg Queen has leadership. So maybe I joke about this in the group chat. Maybe we'll be getting like a master mold in the X-Men animated, and that has leadership, and I could pop out Sentinels, and Isaac can pop out his guys, and we'll just go to town. But those are the 2 teams I'm playing around with. I haven't put the robot team on the table yet. I have put the Thanos team down, and
if they come out with a master mold, and then 5 episodes later we'll be talking about time etiquette and when you're playing a Pog team and a master mold team and how long you should be taking per turn.
Pog teams aren't that bad, though. I mean, I guess it can be for some people, but
it's kind of just, I don't know. I've always said that I'm kind of a fast player. I don't really dilly-dally, and if I play against someone that's like playing slow, I tend to just get, I wouldn't say irritated, but I'm just like, come on.
You get irritated.
Thanks, Alex.
Let's be real here. You get irritated.
I have not flipped any tables, okay?
That's true. You're a mom now. You only do that when someone talks bad about your child.
Yes, very much so. But no, I don't know.
I think now Pog teams, I mean, you could play them slow, but I think the people who play slow now are the people that have like 20 perplexes and like 50 probs. So it's like, all right, let's play. All right, I perplex with this, perplex with that, perplex with this. No, actually, I'll perplex with that. I'll perplex with this. I sidestep. No, I'm going to sidestep here. And then I'm going to attack. I missed. I prob. You know, it's like, all right, well, you took 15 minutes to attack me. I mean, it's cool that you got all those probs and perplexes. That's the smart way to play, is just you got to play faster. So
yeah, I
don't know. The Pog teams can be very slow if you're not Pog savvy.
Yeah, and we've all played those people that are like, I want to play this, this team that has like 7 perplexes and they take forever, and you're sitting across the table and you're just like, I'm not gonna have enough time to like KO something. Yep. And you start to stress a little bit, and you're like, I should not lose this team, but I'm going to lose this team because this person is taking 5 minutes to decide where he wants his perplexes. you know.
Now we
So,
can talk time. We'll talk time management a little bit more another episode. Why
yeah.
don't we go ahead and go to click 3? That is our buy, sell, or hold section.
Click 3. Buy, sell, hold.
All right, welcome to buy, sell, or hold. This is that time when we talk about figures we think you should be selling to make maximum profit. Figures you should be buying because you know what, you just want those figures, and right now is the best time to buy them. Or it's the figures you really need to just hold on to because it's really not a good time to do what you probably want to try to do with them. So Sam, what are you buying nowadays?
So if I'm buying like, if I don't have a Psylocke ID card, maybe a Psylocke ID card.
Yeah.
Beast ID cards.
Yeah.
Because we're got this awesome Beast in the Regenesis set. I mean, I think you're kind of, at this point, if you're playing competitive, you should probably already have majority of what you're looking for. I know more people are like, I'm looking for Chase Jean Grey, so I guess if you're needing something super special, but like I'd be buying ID cards that we are now just getting good figures for. Like you're like, way back in the back, you're like, oh, this thing was $5. I'm not going to play Beast. I'll just sell it, or someone's looking for it. Now it's like, what, Beast ID cards like $20?
Yep.
25 maybe. We got a Chase Psylocke, so people are looking for the Psylocke ID card that was given as a prize, and people were like, I don't even have a Psylocke to call out, so I don't want this. And they were just,
yeah, that's
you
very
know,
true. Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, hey, we got this really cool Psylocke. And now, granted, she's a Chase, and she's going for astronomical prices, but, that's what I'd be buying and stocking up on.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Like, I'd be buying those ID cards that were lesser known. Psylocke IDs have been in the Winamap kits for the past 8 months. I know that's how I have 2 now, and I think it's from those. So they're not hard to find, but they're not super easy to find. You got all those wanted posters that are still cheap because wanted poster IDs were just plentiful. So go ahead and buy those up because we're hitting the 1 year mark for those events, and when you hit the 1 year mark for a set, that's just when it's not that the market changes, it's more of like the amount of those on the market. Like the supply dwindles because everyone who wants it already has it. So that's why, like, for now you don't see very few Chase Jean Greys from Xavier School because it's just everyone has theirs and there's no more hitting the market, so you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. I would do that. I would also start looking at some of the sets. Like, if you're more of a collector, now is the time to start hitting the chases for things like Battle World and maybe Earth X, because they're not stale, but they're not as, the meta has set for them, and we know what figures are meta from them.
Or even Black Panther, because when Nationals kind of flooding the market, it was amazing to see. Like, I'm sitting at home and I was just seeing like the price drop on the stuff. Like, people were posting at the beginning. I was like, I pulled a Chase, blah blah blah, and I want $70 for it. And then like by the end of the Origins, it was like, here's this Chase for $35. Like, because they were flooding the market. So if you are wanting to complete your set of Black Panther, like, now is the time to snatch up some good deals of if you're missing a piece. Like, the Super Rare Prime went from like $70, I think he's down to $30. So I mean, that is
interesting.
So it's one of those times, like, if you need something, now's the time to buy Black Panther because it's flooded. Like, Origins does that.
Now, I will say this, unless you just gotta have it, one thing I suggest you do not buy, because I guess that's not really a thing of buy, sell, hold, is things you should not buy. You do not overspend for Regenesis.
No.
Please. We have 3 months of Regenesis. Keep in mind, it's the same feeds for all 3 months. Same feeds. The only things that change is the prizes. So it's just like Civil War. Remember Civil War? We got real tired of those figures real quick. Now, they weren't nearly as good as these X-Men figures. They were built differently. But we were real tired of those figures come like month 3. And we are just now getting halfway through, a little bit more, 2/3 of the way through month 1. So,
yeah.
If you gotta have them, that's fine. But that Chase Psylocke, who's like going for over $100, will regulate and will go down to the $50 to $60 that she probably is actually worth.
Yeah.
So
I mean, here's my thing. It's a dual thing right there with the chases. Like, if you're buying a rare for $20 of Regenesis, I'm sorry, but you're crazy. And because that's just, unless you like you said, unless you just have to have the Iceman because you are a super Iceman fan and you have to have it because, but like, there's 2 more months of it. Like, someone's gonna pull a rare Iceman and they're gonna be like, I already have this. Here, trade me this and whatever. Now, I don't condone buying a chase that we're not done with the set yet. We're not done with the months for $100. Now, granted, but also, there's one chase per 2 gravity feeds. Yeah. So you say, will it regulate? I don't know. Like, there's that big if. Like, what if there's only so many Psylocks, you know? Like, we've seen a ton of cannonballs. Like, yeah. But you haven't seen... I mean, you see Psylocke because people are like, oh, I pulled the Psylocke, and either, like, not for sale, not for trade, or I want $120 for it. So... it's one of those, like, I will never spend that much for a chase. I would just be like, okay, I hope to pull it, or I'll just wait for it to go down. But if I pulled one, I know that there's people out there that will spend it.
Yeah. I mean, and the key thing is the set's not even legal. I mean, the set's not legal until August 7th.
But it's X-Men.
No, I get that. Yeah. I'm saying, like, it's not like I can buy the Psylocke and play it tomorrow, which I hope you don't have any of the Genesis pieces for your team tomorrow, because it's not legal. They're not legal until August 7th.
Thanks, Alex. So. I thanks for the confidence that I...
Just making sure. I figured you had it, but anybody else who's... I mean, by the time they hear this recording...
I was hoping to pull one over Daniel Powell. He's the judge tomorrow. I was kind of hoping to slide it underneath the radar. And
I mean, you just gotta, like... give him your build sheet, but then hand him the baby also, and he'll be like, "Oh, cute baby, your team's approved."
And I collared Beast base black with a Sharpie.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the Kitty Pryde from Xavier. I swear.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a double-edged sword there. I mean, I don't suggest people buy Regenesis pieces, but I mean, if you were like, it's one of those like scared scenarios, but then. Like, again, selling, like, you like buy, sell, hold. My part of my selling part is if you have a Chase Jean, and you're sitting on it, and you're like, I'm not gonna play her. I'm not gonna ever use her. I'm not playing competitive anymore. Right now, it's the time to sell your Chase Jean Grey. People are looking for it. If you pull a Psylocke and you're like, I'm never gonna play this Psylocke, now's the time to sell it.
Yep.
So.
So are those your sells, I guess?
Those are my big sells. If you have an Ultra Chase Thanos, I know kind of flooded the market there for a little bit. You could probably nab a couple $100 for it.
Yeah.
If you want to sell it, and you're not like, I'm not gonna play this, or I'm not gonna want this, or with Worlds coming up, I mean, there's people that's gonna be looking for stuff with Worlds coming up.
Yeah.
So.
Completely agree. I would say for my sells, it's kind of like, right now you probably are, if you're a big fan of Rebirth, you're probably hearing like alarm bells in the background, abandoned ship, because Rebirth has really come out to be a stinker when it comes to chases. Really, the only thing Rebirth has given us is Prez Ricard, Mr. Oz, which obviously is the biggest piece, and then there's a couple other middling ones like Starfire is still kind of popular, and but the chases, I mean, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah,
Anything. I mean, Barbados, sure. Now, Murder Machine is the one that has the most promise because he is Vulture light when it comes to like range. So Murder Machine, I would hold on to. I would not hold on to any of the others. Maybe Barbados, but everything else. I mean, their prices have been already going down. They are continuing to go down, and they will, because they will go down to what. I mean, they're not going to get to Joker's Wild levels, because they're all still playable in normal settings. It's just they will not have the meta price tag. They will have the casual price tag. So you could nab a Red Death probably for $40 in a couple months, maybe 45. The Drown the same way. Dawnbreaker's going to be more expensive because he has that faux meta sense. Like, everyone keeps looking at Dawnbreaker and is like, oh, he's amazing, he's going to be meta. And it's like, no, he's not, because he's way too many points for what he gives you. Someone can make him work. Someone shifty or who's really good can make him work, but he's just not worth the 75 points. But you can use him in casual. Same with the Merciless, the Devastator, the Batman Who Laughs. Like, all of them. Red Death.
Yeah.
They'll all be in the 40 to 50 range, maybe. Probably a little bit less. So you want to sell those figures now.
I think if you have a Captain Venom, I know it's not Rebirth, but I think if you have a Captain Venom, I think that could be a good sell. Like, if you know, like, hey, I'm not going to play this, I think, because that's a piece that I can see breaking into the Cena meta.
That's true. I mean, I guess you got to sit there and, like, I don't know what his current value is, unfortunately. So I don't know if he's fallen. I think he's been pretty steady.
I think he's been pretty steady just because he's Venom, he's Cap. He gives monsters the prop and stuff. You know, everybody's on the monster train with whales and, you know, Surters and Carnages and stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, if I had him and I wasn't going to play him, and now's probably the time to sell him.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Murder
Machine.
Well, I was clicking on Murder Machine. The monster keyword, obviously, you've got really one more good year of that before it takes a big hit when we lose all the Thor Colossals. So, he's still popular because there's still that potential. I personally don't think he's really going to be making a big splash. He might on some monster teams, but outside of Tyler's Whales, what has been a dominant monster team? There hasn't been a bunch. I mean, Murder Machine is played on non-theme.
Not necessarily.
I'm sure. I mean, but I'm thinking just recent wins. Monster just doesn't have that it factor outside of Whales. And Whales is still up in the air. Sorry, Tyler. Just because you lose Minnie. So, you don't have the Shredders anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with all of that, of what I just said, I completely agree with you. I think you got to sell now before everyone realizes that, sure, he gives Monsters, make it a name theme team, but Monsters isn't going to be that good that much longer unless we get a set that really just knocks it out of the park. Unless we get some in X-Men or we get some in Justice League Unlimited or whatever. Unless we get some really good monsters out of those. You know.
Also, if you have a rare Kobik, like if you have just a spare Kobik sitting around.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm surprised she's staying at 80.
She's
like, I'm
that's the thing.
surprised she hasn't gone up because more people are like, I mean, like in our previous conversation, it was like Kobik, and it's like, hey, well, how does all these people have Kobik? You know, like, was she like the number one chase pulled or?
Well, that's the thing. Kobik, when it came, and this is maybe going off on a tangent. Kobik really made a splash like the week before Nats. I mean, I know the set had just come out, but it was really, we saw her previews and we're like, okay, she's got some interesting things going on. But it wasn't until the week before Nats that everyone was like, oh, okay, now she's got a lot going on, especially with Trader.
Mm-hmm.
So she was pretty... The supply for her was pretty large right before Nats, just because people were buying this set like hotcakes, like everywhere. Everyone was buying this set. And people were looking for the other chases generally. Like, they wanted the Iron Man, they wanted the Chase Black Panther, they wanted everything but Starbrand, essentially. So Kobik, while she was popular, she's a very finesse type piece. She's not a, I could put her on her piece and she could be my temple, put her on a team and she could be my temple. So I think she was a lot cheaper because she just wasn't the most sought after chase. The Ultra Chase was, and then Captain America and probably Iron Man, and then maybe Red Skull, but then came Kobik. So I think it's just there was a lot out there and not a lot of demand, but then, you know, Patrick ended up winning with, well, no, he didn't win with the Kobik. Easton played with the Kobik, but there was a lot of Kobik teams. And so that was really where, like, oh, and that's where she got the $30 meta price tag. Like, her value shot up from 50 to 80. So she's not, because she's still around and that, you know, you can still pick her up pretty easily. That's why I don't think she'll go above 100. I think 80 is her sweet spot. I mean, that's how much Hawkeye was, I think, for a while, was around 80. And that's how much
that's true.
Minnie's a little different case, but he sat around 80 for a while too. So
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I just think that, I mean, again, if you have an extra Kobik, now's probably the time to sell. Because,
yeah, once people figure her out and she's not played as much, or they nerf Trader down, she might see a little bit less play. So
yeah.
All right, what are you holding outside of a baby? What are you holding?
What am I holding? I mean, I would say extra call-ins.
Okay.
Like, you know, like everybody knows, like, Dale and I have like 2 of everything. Sometimes we have 3 of everything. Sometimes we have 4, 5 of stuff. Right now we're holding all of our call-ins. Like, we'll not be selling any Jean Greys. We'll not be selling any Super Cyclopses. We will not be selling any Wolverines. Just because we want to hold those, because with this X-Men set coming out and we don't really know what interaction's going to happen, like, X-Men team could become very viable again, and we may need 3 Super Cyclopses.
Right.
You know, or I may need, I've played 2 Chase Jeans on my team before, so, like, I'm holding all my call-ins that are currently meta now, so, but we play meta, so that's kind of like, I'm telling you, if you have it and you're not going to play meta and you don't want to play that on your ID cards, then sell, because people are going to want to buy it because X-Men's coming out and they may be prepping for something that's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
But then you got us that are like, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to be the one that might be buying up if I find it cheap enough, you know? So it's one of those.
Yeah, I like that.
It's one of those, like, it depends on the scenario you're in, so.
Okay. I don't have any holds, so.
But you don't really, like, you just kind of like, what's good, what do I need, and that's what you get.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you got the uncertainty of the meta, and you got figures that are borderline and that have been waiting for Hawkeye to die, and now that he's gone, you're unsure of whether he's going to make a splash, so you're waiting for someone else to make a splash with him or with that figure, so you're holding on, and that's fine. I mean, it's just, there's not a lot to hold right now. You either buy up all this stuff in anticipation, but there's not a lot about to hit the market.
There's, with like I said, you got the X-Men animated set coming out that we have no idea what it's going to do, and I could be sitting on like 6 super rare Wolverines for no reason. You know, like, it could just be like, okay, well, that was a waste of my time or a waste of my money, but it's one of those, like, it's a gamble you take, you know?
Exactly. That's what this whole game is.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
let's go on to click 4, the KO click for final thoughts.
Click 4. Final thoughts.
All right, Sam, it's our first episode of season 2. What are you leaving everybody with a final thought?
It's good to be back.
Amen.
It's good to be back, talking some meta, talking some whatever we do. I'm not sure if we have any good 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 conversations, but I want to say thanks to everyone who reached out to Daniel and I the past 7-8 weeks with about all the blessings and love and prayers and everything, and it really meant a lot. I know, like, we may not have responded to everybody, but we really truly we loved every comment and heart and like, and it was really awesome to see. Like, we were so excited to announce, when he was here. And I remember when Daniel said, "Are we ready to put this on Facebook?" And it was one of those, like, yes. And it was one of those, like, I was scared at the same time, because I was like, what kind of reactions are we going to get? Like, you always put that out there, because you don't, there's bad people on the internet, and I was just like, oh gosh, I don't want to see the negative comments on my, like, the best day of my life. But all we got was love, and I got so many personal messages from people, and it was so heartwarming. And I want to say thanks to everybody in the community that sent us love and prayers and thanks. And so I know that was a little mushy, but hey, I'm hormonal and I'm a new mom and whatever.
It's all good. So for my final thought, well, I'm glad you're back. For the little peek behind the curtain, I mean, we had recorded an episode right before Nationals, but it just didn't make it. The audio just was bad.
Wasn't it like? I think I was like.
It was the day before. It was like the day before. I think you were, or the day or two before.
I think it was like 2 days before I had Theo. So.
Yeah, it was a couple days right before you were supposed to have the baby. So, glad you're back. There's always that little bit of concern that, what if something horribly goes wrong? Do I continue the podcast? What do I do? Do I splice up her words and have her say stuff? No, that doesn't make sense. Crazy things. So, very happy you're back. Sort of back. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. I'm like, I had literally, like, we were driving in the car and I told Daniel, I was like, can you please tell me what the new meta is, like, right now? And he's like, well, you gotta worry about this and this and this. I'm like, okay, well. And like I said, I'm playing tomorrow, and I'm going to probably get a really good lesson on the new meta tomorrow. So, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's just, happy you're back. Happy we're back recording. And, pumped about Worlds coming up. So, that's pretty much it for my final thought, because I've done enough talking for this episode, I'm sure.
People are probably like, please get off the...
Yes, please.
So
that'll do it for this episode of Sudden Death. May all your Star Trek and Regenesis boosters have chases, and may all your rolls be critical hits. Goodbye, everybody.
see ya.